Hey, video world, and welcome to my game review for Silent Hill 3. This is part of the HD collection on the Xbox 360. As you may know, I reviewed Silent Hill 2. I played that a little while back, a couple of months back. So if you want to see my review for that, there'll be a link in the description below or an annotation somewhere on the video. I just recently finished playing Silent Hill 3, and being the fact that I've never played it before, it's a franchise that I've unfortunately missed during the PlayStation 2 era. I really enjoyed it. It is definitely a lot more different than Silent Hill 2 was. I think they're both really excellent games in its own right. I think the third one's got a little bit more edge in terms of the story and of course the visuals, and just the whole round creepiness of it is just really interesting from start to finish, and the ending is very satisfying. Characters are very well done, well written. I love the dialogue, love the atmosphere. It's just brilliant. It is Silent Hill and did exactly what the game should be. A very intense, story-driven ride from start to finish. Exactly what I wanted out of the game. So let's talk about Silent Hill 3. Why did you break up the sun? So the storyline for Silent Hill 3 is set 17 years after the events of the first game, with Harry Mason's character escaping Silent Hill with a baby girl, now turned to a teenager named Heather, who is basically brought into this nightmare world by a cult that is tracking her down, and she soon realises that after discovering her mystery origins, she has to travel back to Silent Hill to put a stop to her plans and figure out what is going on. The storyline I felt was excellent. I felt it was a lot more bigger, a lot more open scale than the second one was. I love this story of the whole cult stuff, and we're in Silent Hill, and Heather's mystery origins and her past, and what's so special about her, and just the things that play out during this game I think were very intense, very creepy, and just naturally just gripping as an actual storyline goes. These type of games, these type of Silent Hill games are very strong about the story. It's more about the story than it is the combat and everything else. The puzzles really, add a little bit of challenge to it and all that type of thing. But I think the storyline was very interesting. Being the fact that I never played the first game, I got all the references, all the facts perfectly. So if you've never played any of the Silent Hill games, even the second one, I think you can jump into this game straight away and have fun with it. And I think the storyline for this game, I think it was very hard to translate to actually film, being the fact they tried to do it in Silent Hill Revelation, the movie. Are you ready for love? Go check it out! Go check it out. Playing this game, I actually hate that movie even more now, being the fact that they were trying to do an hour and a half movie, which is a huge story, and they didn't use all the characters properly. They didn't use the atmosphere and the chills. I think the game has a much more stronger edge than the film did. Definitely, massively. I love the characters. Vincent's character I thought was very interesting. The kind of, where is his alliance kind of lead? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy in a sense? What's his agenda and all this? And I like his kind of dialogue between Heather's character and Claudia. Then we have Claudia's character, who's a bit of a kind of a religious nutter in a sense. Basically, we need to wipe out mankind, start a new world in a way, and she wants to use Heather as the kind of the vessel in bringing this kind of new god to a new world in a sense. And I love the idea of that, and her character was definitely better portrayed in the game than I was expecting it would do, in all fairness. She had a background. I love the fact that they introduced the father character, Vincent's character within the actual books, and how he explains the relationship between her and Claudia and all that type of stuff. And she's actually just a very broken character in a sense. She was very abused as a child, and she was kind of like, she basically never had any friends, never had anybody in a sense. So the only person that she can really look up to and really actually love in a sense is God, and this kind of false God in a sense. And it's that type of villain character that makes her definitely a lot more special, and I think she was very interesting portrayed on screen. Yeah, Heather in this game, our kind of main female protagonist, I felt her character was definitely a lot of wit to her. She was definitely had some attitude. She definitely told to go, up yourself in a sense, especially in the first opening of the game when the investigator comes in and basically tells you to get lost practically. I felt she definitely stuck up her own in the conversation. She definitely was smart within some of the situations that she did do, especially conversations between certain characters, especially villain characters. She wasn't like pure evil or pure hero in a sense. She was just a girl that was in a situation, and she was making the best of it, and she was trying to figure out what the heck is going on. There were certain things that happen later on to the character which gives them kind of more motivation and more reasoning to do the things that she does, especially when she goes back to Silent Hill. We definitely gets into the more kind of personal nature there for sure. The first kind of main missions within the subway, within the actual main mall, are actually not even in Silent Hill, so that's pretty interesting by itself. The whole build-up is to get to Silent Hill and find out what's going on down there, and I think the storyline's very interesting with her character and how she finds out certain information, especially between her origins. Who is she? Who is this little girl? Who is Heather, in a sense? What is her purpose within this kind of grand scheme plan with the cult? You also get the investigator's character in this one as well, which is introduced in the opening of the actual game. I felt his character was a lot more interesting than the actual movie portrayal. In Silent Hill Revelation, they kind of just slugged him off quite quickly and just he was in there for like 10 minutes, less than that. In this game, he's actually a main character, and which is really cool to see. He's the character that's got tied up in all this crazy stuff. He was used, and I really liked his, who he is as an actual person. I like the fact that he's just doing the job, and at the end of it, he actually does stick up his own. He actually does try and fuck this shit, what's going on here, and actually he is an investigator, what he should do, and investigate, bit smart, isn't it, in a sense, and I really liked him in this game. He was good portrayed, and he was a nice character. Now, of course, in typical Silent Hill fashion, there are 3 different endings. There is the normal ending, there is the possession ending, and there is the joke UFO ending, which I've actually had a look at on YouTube. Actually pretty funny, the UFO one is, so there are certain requirements, obviously, to get these certain endings to play depending on how you play the game and what decisions you choose to do will affect the main ending of the story. Majority of the time, you will get the normal ending. I think it's a little more simpler than the actual Silent Hill 2 was. Silent Hill 2 had multiple different endings, and they were very tricky to get a certain one. I think this one's a bit more lenient with the normal ending. The possession ending is actually quite interesting also, and of course the UFO ending is just a bit of a fun, bit of a joke. So now, of course, there's a nice shooter game for you Call of Duty fans out there. This is a well-driven story game filled with atmosphere and tension and chills, and just a good creepy atmosphere to it. It is a story-driven movie from A to B, in a sense. This is pure survival horror in its finest. Now, the gameplay is miles improved from Silent Hill 2, which I felt the controls are a lot more effective. I love the fact how you can move the character a lot more better now. You can actually run, you can do block techniques, which is very handy, very effective, especially when going against the boss battles and certain kind of creatures. Once again, like a typical Silent Hill game, ammo and health is very, very important. So keep that in mind when you're playing the game. If you haven't played it before, save your main kind of ammunition and your health for the main boss battles, because you're going to need them the most. I feel the cam work is a lot more better this time around. Now, the weapons are even improved also, with given a shotgun, a submachine gun, even a samurai sword, pipes, all better weapons this time around, much effective. The shotgun and the submachine gun are those weapons you want to be using for the boss battles the most, because they deliver the most damage. The best weapon out of the entire game for me was the samurai sword. I used that the most, and I felt it was very effective, especially when I was low on bullets or health on some of those lines. It will definitely be very effective for blocking, and it delivers a good, lot of damage to my enemies, which is always a good thing. The puzzles in this game is also very challenging, depending on what setting you put it on. You will be doing some rage quit for sure. There will be some straightforward puzzles, especially very early on in the game. There will be one of those puzzles where you'll be literally scratching your head and going this makes absolutely no sense. So overall, Silent Hill 3 was a well put together game, excellent storyline, well done delivering characters, voice acting was excellent, top notch stuff. Definitely improvement on the second Silent Hill game. The weapon system was better, the combat was better, controls were better, everything was improved to give you the best Silent Hill experience ever, and it was definitely atmospheric, it was creepy, it was engaging, probably one of the best Silent Hill games I've played to date. I have Homecoming and Downpour still to play, so I will be playing those games next, and I will do a review and give you my opinions on those games, being the fact that they're next generation version Silent Hill games, so it should be interesting to see. For my very first experience with Silent Hill 3, I absolutely loved it. It was a great experience, definitely still holds up to date in terms of games, and definitely, and I think some other games out there definitely need to look at this game and actually learn one or two things from it. So if I enjoyed watching this review, what did you think of Silent Hill 3? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Let me know your opinions, comment down below. So in the meantime, Andrew from Media from Game TV. Signing out.